Okay, welcome. So my name is Lori Haight, and I serve as the Student Career Coordinator at SILS at UNC Chapel Hill. And this year, we're trying a speed networking event virtually, where we have an opportunity over 3 days to talk to alumni and friends of SILS in 6 different categories to help students get not only exposed to the industries and the fields, but also to connect and network. So I welcome everyone for coming, and I really appreciate you taking the time tonight to be here with us. Hilary, would you like to do an official SILSAA welcome?
Hey everybody, my name is Hilary Fox and I'm the president of the SILS Alumni Association. And on behalf of the board, thank you so much to the professionals for being here, and thank you for the students for kind of trying to figure out this weird new thing that we're trying to do with the speed networking event. It's been really great because as I look around and see all these different boxes, most of you all are not within North Carolina or within the Triangle. And if we were face-to-face, we would really lose the benefit of being able to connect with such awesome alumni. So thank you so much for trying this out with us. Please give us feedback. And also if there's anything else you would like to see the Alumni Association do, either as alumni or as a student, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Thank you.
Thanks, Hilary. So I'd like to take a few minutes here while we're all in the group together for our professionals to take a minute to introduce themselves. And I think that will help the students when they're in the breakout rooms know who they're talking to and be able to get into, with such a brief time, get into more dialogue. So I am going to call on people, and if you could tell us your name and title and connection to SILS and anything else you'd like to share, maybe, as Hilary said, geographically where you're calling in from. That would be great. So we'll start with Amanda.
Hello, I'm Amanda McDonald. I am the Undergraduate Research Services Librarian at Virginia Tech. I'm calling in from Christiansburg, Virginia, so the town right next to where Virginia Tech is. And I went to UNC Chapel Hill in 2012, graduated in 2014. So that is my connection, and I'm just excited to be here and meet with you all and answer questions as best I can.
Thank you. David, we'll go to you next.
Sure. Hello, everybody. I'm David Lemmons. I use he, him pronouns. I am the instruction coordinator at George Mason University Libraries in Fairfax, Virginia, right outside of DC. And I'm calling in from Vienna, Virginia, which is nearby and not as fancy as it sounds. I am a SILS alum, graduated in 2014 with Amanda and Hilary and Virginia. So it's like a little reunion here too. So I'm happy to be here. And like Amanda said, happy to answer whatever questions I can.
Great. Thank you. DebbiLee?
Hi, I'm DebbiLee Landi, and I may be the oddball on the panel. I am a friend of SILS. I've had a number of my students from other places I've worked become librarians, and they all went to Chapel Hill. So I've written lots of letters of recommendation there. So that's my familiarity with the group. I am currently at Davidson, and I am at home in Mooresville, North Carolina. I've been at Davidson about 4 years. Prior to that, I was at the University of the South, Sewanee, and also Furman. So I have about 25 years in the field of archives and special collections, and a little over 20 of that as the head of both of those departments.
DebbiLee, we're excited for you to be here. Thank you for joining us. Sharon?
Okay, hi everybody. I'm Sharon Byrd. I am currently the Special Collections Librarian at Davidson. Haven't been to Chapel Hill very recently during the pandemic, but have been shortly before that because it's not that far. You guys know I have been here a long time. I'm probably older than most of you put together. I graduated from Chapel Hill in '76 and have spent most of my career at Davidson. I was at a small Catholic girls' school before that. In about 8 different positions, currently doing archives work and most particularly rare book room kind of things. So I will tell you that you're getting into a profession that can be very long lasting. So that should be a consideration for you, that this isn't going to be a profession that's going away. It's changed a lot, but it won't be going away.
Thank you, Sharon. Virginia.
Hey everyone, I'm Virginia Ferris. I use she, her pronouns, and I am calling in from Cary, North Carolina. I work at NC State University with Hilary. I am the Outreach and Engagement Program Librarian for Special Collections at NC State, and I've been there since 2014. I graduated from SILS in 2014 and began at NC State then. So I'm excited to see Amanda and David and Hilary and meet other new faces. And this is great to be a part of this. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to pause. Paul, we just went around and did a brief introduction. If you, I know you just joined us, but if you don't mind telling us where you're currently at and maybe where you're geographically calling in from tonight, that would be great.
Hi, I am at University of West Florida branch campus in Fort Walton Beach. That's where I'm calling from. I am class of 1988. Y'all probably weren't born. What was I supposed to answer?
Yes, that's great. Yes, thank you. So continue to record. Welcome back. At this time in our presentation, we wanted to get some conversation going with all the professionals here tonight. And so we thought it would be interesting to hear from you a couple of things. The one question we wanted to ask you to start off with is what professional development organizations, or are there professional development organizations that have been helpful to you in your career? And so professionals, please feel free to unmute and we'll spend a few minutes on this question.
So I can start and say that the two that came to mind when you mentioned that were ACRL, specifically the instruction section, because that's my job now, but I've had other jobs where I've worn like 65 hats before. All of their sections are very helpful. One other organization / event I might highlight is a non-library group, which is the annual conference on the first year experience. It's a really great conference that brings together people from across the university to talk about first year experience stuff. And they're always in really fun locations. So like I got to go to Vegas. I've been to San Antonio with them. It's been a lot of fun. So those would be the two that I would recommend. Not necessarily just for the trips to Vegas, also because it's a great conference. So yeah, I'd highlight those two.
Great.
And I can go next. I agree with David. Those are both great. And I would say that like the ones I've leaned on has changed kind of over time as I've been a librarian. So when I first started, I was at Louisiana State. And so I was involved there in Louisiana Library Association. And then when I took the job at Virginia Tech, I was involved with Virginia Library Association, so LLA and VLA. And as a first time like young librarian, I found that my regional associations were really helpful. Especially VLA has a new members roundtable and MRT, which I'm assuming a lot of, the regional areas have organizations like that. And I found that really great to be near other librarians in my area, whether they were doing the type of work I was doing or not. I just found it helpful to kind of network and get to know them. And then there are also some times where you'll find like, in New Orleans, they have an information literacy consortium that I happened to hear about at LLA. So I went to that day-long training. So once in a while, you'll see things like that. I'm trying to think of something else, like the social science librarians in Virginia also have like a day-long boot camp. And so I would say, as you're starting to think about the type of work you want to do, kind of look and see, do they have like things like the new members roundtable? Or if you think you're going to be, a medical librarian or a social science librarian, do they have, boot camps or groups or things like that you can join? Because that's really where I found connecting on like, smaller groups of people that were doing similar types of work, I found to be really, really helpful.
Thank you.
And I would agree with Amanda on all of that. As much as possible, try to get involved locally, whether it's town, county, state, region. As Amanda said, those people that are nearby you can be extremely helpful with that initial networking that you are going to depend on as you go through your career. It's they say in a lot of places, it's not what you know, but who you know. it is what you know, but it also involves who you know and who you can ask questions of and who's helpful at different stages of your career. Been there, done that, and they can help you when you have run into those questions. So network all those local things that you can. And remember that even some of these more national organizations that you might not think would be useful at first, if there are things like those new members roundtables, those are good. And I know pricing is horrible for people to have to join lots of organizations if they don't think that one's going to be useful. Remember that while you are a student, you usually get a break.
Yes, Sharon, that's a good point in terms of it might be a worth a graduation present or in your last semester of SILS to think about that membership that lasts even after you graduate to carry you into that first year after school.
Yeah, and I'll echo a lot of what everyone has said about local organizations. And if you're interested in archives and special collections and you're in North Carolina, the Society of North Carolina Archivists, that's been really crucial to me personally. And in addition to networking, it also gives you a chance to test out different kind of leadership opportunities in some of their committees and subcommittees. And the same goes for the larger national organizations, but it's great to kind of get your feet wet in some of the local organizations if you want to try out, you know, if there's an education committee or, you know, some other kind of work that the organization is doing, you can get started working in that area, and you can get a little bit more practice in the professional organizations that go on beyond the local region.
And besides echoing what everybody else has already said, I would say try one of the really big ones, like go to ALA once, just so you see what it's like. But I probably spent more time in ACRL and local organizations. One thing I would say that maybe this wouldn't be repeated, so this will be something original. There's some other conferences that you might not think about, like for archives and special collections, you wouldn't think something like the Library Technology conference, which is held at McAllister every year, but that was really helpful. And they had a lot of things that I wouldn't have expected. I also look at museums as well, because often museums do things like a little differently, and sometimes even before libraries and archives. So sometimes, you know, I've gone to museum conferences too, because they have some interesting ideas. And I'm definitely a proponent of local, because particularly with archives and looking at local history, you know, there's always like organizations that might even just be your city, or it might be your region, could be statewide. So I've probably spent more time in regional and local organizations than other organizations, just because for what I was doing, that felt like that was more valuable for me.
I'm gonna ditto the local organizations thing too. I'm in a very small town kind of area. I'm the only librarian for UWF that's over here in this county. If all the good accomplished librarians are over in Pensacola, and so so I feel a little bit out in the boondocks, but we do have a little local librarians club, which is academic librarian here. It's dominated by the public librarians, but I'm not very energetic or creative when it comes to programming or exhibits or things like that. And I feed off of the public librarians are great about stuff like that. So I've gotten some good ideas, and where I may not have gotten an idea that I could apply, at least I've gotten some energy from that. Also, Computers and Libraries is a good conference to go to on the tech side, and it's up there near David in
Don't let that deter you, though. It's a great conference.
Great. Well, I appreciate everyone participating in the break, and I'd love to have us go back to our breakout rooms. I hope you are able to rejoin for the professionals. And Rebecca, I hope you'll swap out and do the other side. And so let's go to the next breakout. Thank you. Welcome back. Thank you for surviving our experiment this evening. I just wanted to take a few minutes to thank the SILS Alumni Association about finding all of the wonderful professionals tonight. So thank you, Hilary, for representing SILSAA. And professionals, thank you for giving of your time and expertise tonight. We couldn't really make these connections without your support and giving back. So I hope it's okay if students in the future ask for any of your contact information, and I'd be happy to share that with them, and then they'd be able to contact you individually. So thank you very much for that. So with that, thank you very much, and hope to see students and professionals soon, either virtually or in person. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Nice to meet you all. Have a good
You too.
evening.
Thank you.